this morning, and I was looking at Ephesians 5:2. Now, it's interesting that Paul talked about that we are to be people who walk in love. And he used the analogy of Jesus Christ, who gave his life as a sacrifice and a fragrant offering to God. Did you ever see yourself as a scent? Yeah, that's right. Well, we've all, when we all have favorite smells that we have, some people say, I love the smell of spaghetti. Or another one will say, I love the smell of this food or that food. Or maybe you have a favorite fragrance or perfume that you, of course, put on. Remember when Axe men's cologne came out and all the girls, hey! And then, of course, there was the Aqua Velva Man. Or, of course, there's always new fragrance to come. Hey, got the brute. What that means is, of course, our world is full of fragrance. Did you actually know that many of the fragrances bring up different memories? Just like, for example, you hear a song and you go, oh, I remember a memory like that. I remember when I broke up with my first girlfriend, and I was listening at the time, of course, it was Olivia Newton-John, which was Please, Mr. Please, Don't Play Me 17. And I would listen to that over and over again. One day, one of my friends just came in and he said, you know what? That thing is getting old. Get over it. Stop being so sentimental and nostalgic. And then, of course, you're walking through some place and all of a sudden you catch a scent and it triggers a memory. Well, basically, we are called to fragrance and we are to flavor our world. Now, Jesus used in the Sermon on the Mount, salt as one of the analogies that he used during that time. He said, "Listen, you are the salt of the earth," and that meant that you flavor and you also preserve, because in the ancient world, that's what basically salt does. I know that I love having salt on my French fries, or I love having salt on my eggs. It just enhances it. Now, when I was living up north, we had a little restaurant, and it was called the Back Eddy Restaurant. And the Back Eddy Restaurant had a particular salt that was exclusive to the north, and it was absolutely fabulous. And over the years, we've had friends come down and we say, okay, you're coming down to visit us, bring us some Back Eddy salt. And so it tastes very good. You put it on just about anything and it tastes really good. Well, in the same manner, you and I are to flavor and also be a fragrance in this world. Remember, this world is rather dark, and this world is rather bland. And so it needs some sort of scent and some sort of fragrance and some sort of, flavoring, because the simple fact is the deeds of most people are unlovely. Most folks are selfish. Not everybody, okay? But most people are really struggling these days, and they need some sort of inspiration. They need some sort of flavoring. They need some sort of fragrancing in their lives in a metaphor type of way. And you and I can provide that. We can provide them an example of love. We can provide them an example of grace, of mercy, of kindness. We can demonstrate through our life the love of God, the grace of God, the mercy of God, the forgiveness of God, the reconciliation of God. Let's just talk about forgiveness for just a moment. It seems to be a theme that I have been kind of talking about the last few days, because I have seen so much unforgiveness being permeated, of course, in our national news. There is this deep divide, for example, in the Middle East, where people will keep generational hatred and unforgiveness in their hearts, and they won't let it go. And it leads to violence, and it leads to hatred and, prejudice and racial tension. And it's not just in, the Middle East, it's everywhere you look. And so we're called, for example, to show that the message of Jesus Christ is one of universality. It means that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. We are the ones that bring a truth. I mean, there's lots of fake news out there, and even some of it is being promoted by world leaders. And you think, do you really know what you're talking about? And then you think to yourself, okay, so there's got to be a banner of truth. There's got to be someone who is speaking the truth and speaking it in love. And also, as well, there needs to be some people out there that are demonstrating true love, not fake love, not selfish love, not self-absorbed love. One of the things that is going around social media right now is, of course, the dynamics between men and women. There's always been dynamics between men and women. But what seems to be happening today is that the gap between the understanding of men and women, instead of getting closer, seems to be getting deeper and wider. And you think to yourself, how can modern ladies think the way that they think? And how do men, basically think the way that they think? And it's coming to the point where instead of working together, they're starting to, butt heads more and more. The philosophy of, women today seem to be more rooted in deep feminism. You have women saying, I don't need a man, until they have to change a tire or something along that lines. And so what's going on today is there needs to be some truth. Some of the truth that we can talk about, for example, is you can forgive. Yes, you can. You can erase the differences by choosing to forgive. You can bring the divide together by choosing to walk in love. And remember that there are differences between men and women. And when you recognize that, and you recognize that you actually are designed to be a cohesive unit by the Lord, that the strengths that you bring to the table, and also as well the fact that you want to cooperate and work together, it's amazing what can really happen. So in a world that seems to be more and more getting more divided, at least in the last little while, it would almost seem that way, you and I have an opportunity, a real opportunity to, show sacrificial love. We can show that it is important to not only concern ourselves with ourselves, but more importantly, concern ourselves with others. You see, if we abandon, for example, the principles of love, acceptance, and forgiveness, and we start adopting more of a, self motivated attitude, we're going to miss so much, because there's some wonderful people out there that as you are helping them, what's going to happen? They're going to pour in love, and they're going to pour in different things. One of the things that was really kind of cool was there was a social experiment. There was a couple of young people that were going around the homeless community. And one night it was rather on the cold side, and they decided to spend night. And one of the homeless men, you know what he actually did? He actually gave them something to eat, and also as well gave them a extra blanket that he happened to have. There was another homeless man who they said, can you give me some money? And he didn't have, he says, well, I don't have very much, but here's what I have. So even in among the vulnerable, there is generosity. Even among those who would you think to yourself, well, they don't have anything to give, but they do. And so you have to understand that you and I can be leading examples in this. And of course, the writer of Hebrews, or I should say Ephesians, which was Paul, he just simply says, listen, walk in love. Understand that what the world does need is love. And you and I can be those individuals. We can show that love. We must show that love. And it's a sacrificial type of love. Love without expecting anything to get back. Give as if you're not expecting anything back, because you'll never be disappointed if you come with that sort of situation. And if it does come back to you, just rejoice. So a little thought for you today. Well, my name is Robert Dean Steele. Thanks for spending time with me. God bless you. And don't forget to also as well press the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel.